Painting is about light. It's about the way that we choose to cast light on one thing or to allow that to rest in darkness. By casting light on certain things, I choose to say yes to those stories. And I think that allows me as a painter to participate in the world around me, but also to contribute to the broader evolution of culture. My name is Kehinde Wiley. I'm an artist. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. You know, we grew up with next to nothing in terms of resources, economic resources, but I had an immense amount of support from my mom and from my siblings and from the whole community. As a young kid looking at old historical paintings, I wonder, why are they wearing those powdered wigs and those pearls? What's up with all the lapdogs? I grew a fascination and a curiosity about the language of power, the language of respect and dignity. I loved Goya, I loved Rubens, I loved Velázquez, but I also love Kerry James Marshall, Charles White. I'd look at that and I'd try to copy it. I'd put myself in it.
My name is Amy Sherald. I am an American painter from Columbus, Georgia. I was born interested in art. I recognized that I wanted to be an artist at an early age. I didn't understand what that meant, but I knew that I was drawn to people that expressed themselves differently than the kind of conservative way that people were in the South. I had one moment in elementary school. My art teacher took us to see the work of an artist named Bo Bartlett. The work was an image of a Black man standing in a yard with his wife and son. And I had never seen that before. I had never seen contemporary work before, so I had an emotional response to it. I knew in that moment that I wanted to make paintings of people. I wanted them to be big paintings of people, like large scale, and I wanted them to tell stories. I've always looked and studied American realists, and so I felt like that was where these narratives that I create belong, because I'm painting American people. I did one painting where I found this young woman. She was somebody that was living outside of the box. And I realized in that moment that that's the kind of person that I'm looking for. These are the people that need to be represented in art history, and these are the people that need to be on the walls of museum institutions, and these are the people that need to look at something and find their humanity inside of that, because it's impossible to find it anywhere else sometimes.
One of my first bodies of work was called Passing Posing. It was about the ways that Black men are pictured in still images. In this case, I was dealing with the mugshot. The mugshot is about the way that you have no right to position your body this way. That decision is taken from you. So much of the great 18th and 19th century portraiture, we see people who have absolute autonomy. I'm going to show you myself, but also show you the land behind me. Cattle, my family, all seen as possessions. Passing Posing was about destroying that relationship of the body and space. Instead, what we're creating are these voids, these fields of color, and then populating them with botanicals, with the decorative, things that have been associated with the irrational, the feminine. The background becomes central metaphor. The background in the portrait of President Obama was central because it centers the background as his history. There are There's flowers from Kenya, flowers from Hawaii, the state flower of Illinois. I wanted to create a painting that mirrored the complexity of the president. And the botanicals point to all of those different places physically that he came of age.
Miss Amy Sherald.
The most challenging thing about painting the First Lady portrait was just thinking about the unveiling and like what people were gonna think, and knowing that you cannot please the whole world. People would ask me, like, have you ever imagined yourself doing this? And I was like, no, why would I? You know, Kehinde painted Michael Jackson, so after you paint Michael Jackson, you're like, I can paint anybody I want to. So like, being chosen to paint her never crossed my mind, not one single time, until it happened. Once I realized it was an opportunity, I did hone in on her because she is somebody who I knew I could represent well.
I think I make art for that person inside of me that wants to be approved, but also that person inside of me that wants to shake up the world. So there's two different things going on. There's the desire for acceptability, and then there's desire for revolution. I'm carrying both paint and pitchfork. Monuments are about domination. They're about dominating our understanding of the present tense in order to look at the past and say, this mattered. What I want to do is to create images that say people who happen to look like me matter.
When I got the phone call with the ask of painting Brianna, I saw it as an opportunity for me to offer something historically that we could live with forever. You know, when Ta-Nehisi asked me to do this, he said, I know that you can represent her in a way where she will feel alive, and that's what I want for the cover. I really wanted to make this painting for her mother, for her sister, and for her boyfriend.
Portraiture is about the resistance of death. But painting is also about the style of living that you want to live. Do you want bright paintings? Do you want dull paintings? I want paintings that shine. This work is definitely about the resistance of decay, but I think it's leading by example. It's not saying no to something, it's saying yes to itself.
A question that I've been asked often is, will you ever paint anybody other than Black people? And my answer is no, I won't, because the image of whiteness has been perpetuated beautifully throughout history. So like, you really don't need my help. Like, I'm here to paint my own ideal and to represent that in the world. And if I can't do that, then, you know, something is deeply wrong. Like, and the story is, like, you should look at a history book and then see if you still want to ask me that question. Because the problem is you recognize an absence of yourself, but you don't recognize the absence of me.